Here we go. Welcome in, everybody. Family, friends, supporters, lovers, haters. You are tapping into the Sober and Unbothered podcast. This is episode 10, I believe. And today we got a special guest, man. I met this guy virtually, John, the Sneakerhead Therapist, man. I tried not to do too much like digging and I looked at your page and everything and saw what you're about. And like, I like what you're doing, involving sneakers with the mental health and sobriety and all that. But I just kind of want to know, like, I wanted to actually talk to you and get to know you more about, like, your origin story and how you what made you start, the page. What made you want to start speaking out?
Yeah, man. First, let me just start by saying thank you for having me on here. I love talking with people. I mean, obviously it's what I do for a living, but I just like people in general and stories, and I think we all have a cool story. And I know I'm going to share my story, but I look forward to hearing yours as well. So, yeah, just my origin story. I'll give you the
Yeah.
quick rundown. I think I'll just start with, I struggled a lot as a teenager and young adult with my own mental health challenges, specifically addiction, and everything that comes with it. It started in high school with drugs and alcohol and partying. I mean, I had to go to multiple high schools. I mean, it was like not smooth at all. And then eventually, through a lot of like consequences and just getting arrested and losing multiple jobs, failing out of college multiple times. I finally, with the help, my parents did an, like if you've seen an intervention, they did like an intervention on me.
For real?
Yeah, and I got caught stealing a lot of money, and so they found
Oh,
out.
okay. Yeah.
Um, I was really bad into drugs, and just I couldn't support my habit through my own means, and so I had to resort to illegal ways to do it. So. They confronted me and I was given like an ultimatum, like either you can go get help and we'll pay for it and we will help you get there, or we're like done with you pretty much, and we're gonna like had all this legal stuff. They could have pressed charges and put me in prison if they really wanted to. So, uh,
Yeah. Damn. Yeah.
it was pretty crazy, but they at the time it's what I needed. I mean, I was 21 and I wasn't, I was like most 21-year-olds, I would say. Like, I thought I had a lot of partying left in me, and like,
Yeah. Trust me, I get it, bro.
you
Yeah.
feel it, me, you feel me. And
Yeah, man.
but man, I was so delusional. Like, I thought like I was like every other 21-year-old, but like I was living at home with my parents while all my other friends were like getting ready to finish college or getting jobs. And like, I just was like stuck in this perpetual cycle. Which I think that's one of the deals when you're addicted to something, you can't really see the truth. So anyway, long story short, I ended up accepting the help, going to treatment. Then I went to sober living after and lived in a setting where it was a bunch of young guys like me that didn't know how to live life, and they helped us get jobs, helped us, like learn how to, I mean, even just like live life, like keep our room clean, like do your laundry, I mean, all the basic skills you need to be a successful adult. And so, yeah, I did that for a while. And I mean, I was doing counseling, I was attending like 12-step meetings, I was going to church, I was just trying all these different ways to like work on changing my inside. Ended up being successful at it. There's a lot more to it, but I'm just, for time's sake, I'll just well, I mean, I mean, sometimes I get asked to tell my story and I speak for like an hour, hour and a half. So I'm not going to do that today.
Yeah. I feel that.
Ended up getting my life together and then went back to college, and I was actually studying accounting at the time. I just thought that's what I should do. But then I got a job working in the mental health field at a treatment program where I would go and I would stay there overnight and watch the clients. I would, answer the phones, do, give people drug tests, kind of do some basic stuff and just watch the clients. And but I really liked it. And then they had a position come opening for like a counselor intern kind of in training position. And I was pretty miserable doing accounting, no offense to any accountants, but it just wasn't for me. But
Yeah. I'm,
uh
I'm not a
I
finance guy. Yeah.
so I took the position. I took the position, and switched my degrees to counseling and never looked back, and eventually got my master's degree, and did a lot of studying. And there's a whole, that was a whole 5 to 6 year process of that. And started working in the mental health field, and and I stayed sober the entire time, and I got focused on addictions and worked a lot with young men at the time because I was, young and could really connect with them. And then just kept rolling with it, man. And that's my career. I've done a lot of different things in my career, but now I own my own practice here, and that's the career story,
Yeah.
and the bit of the personal journey to where I am today.
Damn, that's strong, bro. I heard a lot of stories, man, and like one thing like I've noticed is like everybody has like their different path and their different journey and like what helps them and like some people say that they can do it by themselves or they go to therapy or they do AA and they think that like you know they don't really need anybody. And it's like it's important that you had that support system and that you actually went into like the mental health field. I remember you saying that in the beginning that you were a little delusional, which is like I kind of want to touch on that because like I know when I first got sober, I was the same way. I was like, yeah, like nah, like I don't have a problem. Like people thought like I didn't drink too much, and like I was like, yeah, like in my head I thought, oh no, like I don't need to stop drinking. But no, what I want to ask is like, at what point in that journey or like in the beginning did you think that like, oh, I think I can actually do this? Because I know for some people like they don't. It's hard to imagine their life without alcohol and without
Yeah.
drinking. They can't really like fathom their life without it. So like, at what point, yeah, were you like, oh, I think I can do this?
Yeah, I remember the day and the exact moment. So I was 5 months sober at the time, living in sober living. The whole time I was doing it for myself, but also I was doing it just to like, I think please my parents and just kind of, I really
Right.
didn't have any other options. It was like, I'm not going to be homeless. I'm not going to go to jail. I'm not cut out for either of those.
Right.
And then so I'm living in this sober living house, and so I woke up one morning. So here's what I didn't, this was back in 2008, so this is a long time ago these days. So like I didn't have a cell phone. We didn't have cell phones. I didn't have a car. I would ride a bike to work, and I worked at a sandwich place, and I would make subs for people.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I remember I woke up one morning and I had my work outfit on. It smelled like sandwiches. It was like, nothing fly. It was like some Dickies pants and some Walmart non-slip shoes, and I came from a place where, I had all the, I went on, my family we went on nice vacations. We had all, I had car, I had all that stuff. And like, I didn't have any of that stuff that I would say like kept me comfortable. Um, and I was walking to go get my bike off the bike rack. And I remember like realizing like this is the happiest I've been in a long time, and all I have is like a minimum wage job, a roof over my head, some food on the table, and some friends around me, and like all my basic needs are met, and I didn't need anything else, and I wasn't thinking about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm 21, but I think I can do this for the rest of my life. And that was it.
Damn. Yeah, man. Like it sounds like so simple, and some people might hear that and think, oh, dude, like, nah, that's crazy. But I mean, like, it's really true though. Like if everything in your life and all the simple needs is like met, you don't really need anything else. And I feel that, bro. And I know because you said you got sober at 21. Yes. Because I got sober when I was 23.
Hmm.
Like some people like I've heard jokes and people saying that like, oh, that's a young age, and it's like I even had doctors tell me too. It's like you're too young to be having these problems. You shouldn't like you should stop drinking. You're too young to be having these problems. Was there a time where like you thought you were missing out? Like even after you got sober, like were you thinking that like, oh man, like I kind of want to like I think I'm missing out. I'm too young to be sober.
Yeah, I mean, I struggled with it, man. Honestly, I mean, I went to college at LSU, so like,
Oh damn.
I mean,
Yeah,
LSU is a big party school, and
yeah, I
I went
bet.
to, I went to tailgates. I wasn't in a fraternity because I knew if I joined a fraternity, the risk of me relapsing and falling back in my old lifestyle was high. And I saw other guys like, they were partying, tailgating, chasing girls, all the things that young college guys do. And like I was limited because I just knew I couldn't be exposed to all the partying and drugs and alcohol around me because I just feel like it would suck me back in. So there were times I really struggled with it. But you know what? The secret for me, and I think I get asked a lot of times, like, how did you do it so young? Like, how did you make it? And honestly, I made a lot of really good friends that were also sober. We met through the course of me staying sober and early on, and like I lived with them, and we supported each other, and we did sober fun things together. So like I went to LSU tailgates and there were sober tailgates. So I still got
Damn.
I got a
Yeah.
taste of what I was missing, but I didn't have to be, you know, drunk or high to be there. And so that I definitely struggle with it. And but for me, and I think for most anybody young out there that's struggling with, like, you got to find people around you that are doing the same thing.
Exactly, bro.
There's a principle in psychology, not to get into all this stuff, but like they call it the herd principle. Like you follow the herd. Like if you ever watch like a herd of cattle, like that's how they move the herd is they move them all together and they follow each other. So like you're gonna the chances are great you're gonna follow the herd around you. So if you can surround yourself with people on the same life track, like you have a greater chance of staying sober and making it.
Huh. Yeah, like, cause I always like, like to speak out and say that like community and like having support, like it's important because I know like most people are like I could do it by myself, and like that's a terrible like mindset to have
Right.
about it. I mean, it's possible you could do it yourself, but I always say like I don't recommend doing it because like you have no one to really lean on besides yourself, and even when you're trying to get sober in the beginning, you're like in the most weakest mindset that you can ever really be in. And that's great you had that community and that support and those friends. Like
Hmm.
that's huge.
Yep.
I kind of want to get into the psychology and the therapy behind it because like
Sure.
that's kind of interesting, man. Like what kind of like therapy or not therapy like psychological tactics you know people could use or kind of tips or like in sobriety or in life in general. Like what do you tell patients that like are struggling with sobriety and mental health? Yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, it's all case by case 'cause everybody is so complex, but there's a few things, I would say I like common things I would talk to people. We use cognitive behavioral therapy a lot. It's kind of CBT is the acronym for those out there that want to look into it, but which is where you connect your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, right? And so if you can understand like your thoughts are just your thoughts, and they definitely lead to feelings, which lead to actions. If you can somehow find ways to change your thoughts about something, then your actions will follow. So if my thoughts are, I hate myself, I'm alone, I'm bored, or whatever, that might be, your actions are going to follow that, right? That's when you're going to make bad decisions, potentially relapse, right? But if you can have a work with somebody and have a mindset shift where, you know what, like I'm a good person, I have all these things to be grateful for. I think gratitude is a wonderful, wonderful mindset to be in and something I try to practice. Then all of a sudden, your actions are going to lead from that, and so that's a pretty simple thing I think that most people utilize. But man, a lot of what I really do in therapy now is I help people kind of get to the root of the why. Like, why did
Right.
I become addicted to? And I work with people that are not just addicted to drugs and alcohol, but I do a lot of we call them process addictions, so like behavioral addictions, so like sex, gambling, food, video games, work, relationships, like that type of stuff. And so what I try to help people do now is really get to the why of that and what has led them to that perpetual pattern, which it could be like trauma work, like if you've been through, so I believe we all have trauma through
Oh yeah.
life, and it can come in all shapes and sizes, but also working on like your family of origin, like the family you came from shaped who you are and creates, your values and belief systems. And if something you've experienced or something in your family has shaped your values and belief systems about you, then we have to go back and have a corrective experience there so you can, ultimately be happier and realize you don't have to. use substances or these behaviors to feel better, numb, escape.
That's interesting, bro. Like a lot of what you're saying is like things that I've heard, and
Hmm.
I've always believed it, but I've never really like believed it. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I always like the cognitive behavior, the thoughts, the feelings, and the actions. Like I've always heard that like what you think, you become what you think, and you should be able to change your thoughts. And some people think it's hard to change your thoughts, and I know for me, like my thoughts are kind of based off like my physical health. Like as long as I'm in the gym and I'm healthy and I'm running and I'm lifting and I feel good about myself physically, my mind follows, and that's kind of where my thoughts like kind of change. So like for the
Yeah.
people that think for people that don't really have that same like kind of mindset that I have, or kind of don't use the gym and to incorporate into their mind, like where are ways that people can really start to
Yeah.
change their way of thinking?
A simple question you would ask yourself is are my thoughts, are they based in truth or false? Are they, are they based in facts, right? Like if you think, if you start to think you're a bad person or something like that, like what are the facts there? Like what facts support that action, but then what facts support the opposite belief, the positive belief, and if I just tell people, let's try to stay within facts, right? Because a lot of times we get in fear, of something, or in the future, or fear of the past or the present. And the acronym I use for fear with my clients is, false events appearing real, right? So we're afraid of something, and then we have this story we're telling ourselves in our head how something's going to go or how it's going to be, and like I'm like, well, what facts support that, and we just like simply just like break it down, So I would try to tell people, hey, let's live in the facts, you are not your decisions, like me. I mean, I made terrible decisions, I mean,
Oh yeah.
I did things that, my parents and my family didn't teach me to rob, cheat, and steal and lie, but so like, but yes, I did those decisions, but like also there's a lot more positive decisions I made and positive things I'd done, and just, I just get focused on the negatives. So try to
Living in
stay in the
facts.
facts.
Yeah,
Yep.
living in facts. I like that. I like that because it's easy to stay in a negative headspace, and even when you get to that negative like headspace in your head, like it's hard like to get out of that because some people start and think and then just stay there and like just don't forget about it. I always say that you can't stay in the negative for too long. Like it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be in your feelings. It's okay to think. It's we're human. It's okay to think bad thoughts, and it's okay to be there, but you can't stay there for long because things are just gonna follow.
Yep.
How long do you think like the healing process is? I know it takes a while, but like
Short answer forever, but no.
yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, man, for me, like my journey, I'll say, so my journey, like the healing process, like of really like making that lasting change, I think took a couple years,
Yeah. Yeah.
just of hard work, I mean, there's lots of ways up the mountain, lots of ways to get sober. But for me, I used therapy. I was also really active in 12-step groups. And that was like that's what I was doing a lot of at the time, and so I was working on currently how I was living, and then like also healing from the past. And that took a while, but you have to stay sober along the way. If you keep relapsing, it's just very, very difficult, probably impossible
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
there. But it takes a while, man. It does, and you sometimes I think you have to like prove to yourself like I can do this, I can live this certain way, you know. But you also got to think about all of life's challenges that come your way. They don't stop just because you stop drinking or using substances. I mean, when I got sober, I mean, I went back to college, I started having relationships and dating again. I was living on my own really for the first time, and like having roommates, and like that comes with challenges. And so like I had to learn how to navigate all of those things, and so all that was part of the change process. And now today I'm 38 and 17 years sober, and like life looks so different, but my cha thank you. challenges today are way different. It's like about being a business owner. I'm
Yeah,
happily
man.
married and being a good husband, and like, we've been, working on starting a family and all that stuff. I mean, it's just way different, and so like you just got to keep working on yourself. I think the only thing that changes is really how you work on yourself.
Yeah,
Do you
facts.
use
Yeah.
different methods?
Yeah.
I'm a big guy, workout guy too, in the gym too. So, like that's a huge part of it. But there's the, therapy component, or is it through some form of church or religion or spirituality? There's 12 step groups, there's support groups, there's just so much. Just you got to find what works for you.
Yeah. I feel that, bro. Damn. I mean, I'm just fascinated with with the whole therapy aspect, and I know healing. I feel like healing and growing, it never stops. Like I think as long you got to continuously start the work on like continuously work on yourself. I think if you stop working on yourself, you're just going to become complacent and never grow. You know,
Yeah, 100%.
what would you say like the hardest like part was to like accept and
To accept sobriety,
and sobriety? Yeah, yeah.
man. Being so young was definitely because I had a lot of my life ahead of me. Um, and I would get caught up in things like, oh, I won't be able to drink at my wedding, oh, I won't be able to, whatever, things like that, things I thought I might miss out on, but like, again, I was living in a false reality, right? And the fact, what I learned the facts were is that, I got married and like, I didn't think about drinking my wedding one time. I graduated college and I celebrated and I didn't think about partying one time. I've been to multiple weddings. I've been to sporting events all over the world. I've traveled a ton, like all the things where you think you might want to let loose a little, and like that fear of like missing out, FOMO, like that was a huge hurdle early on for me. And like it again, it was false events appearing real. I thought I was gonna sit there in my wedding and be like, oh my God, I can't drink champagne and toast with everybody. And they brought me sparkling apple cider and I didn't even care, But when I
Right,
was
right.
21, I was worried about something so far in the future.
That's something too that like I think about like as well. It's like damn, because like I when I used to imagine my wedding before, like I was thinking like, oh, like it's gonna be lit, bottles on bottles, open bar, this, that, and the third, and like that's really all I cared about. But it's like the more that I think about it, it's like I don't really care. Is your wife sober? Oh, she's not. So like,
Mm-mm.
okay, so is she like super supportive? I would assume she is. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. When I met her, I think I was like 10 years sober. I mean, yeah, so it wasn't like early on, so but she's always been supportive. I mean, she drinks, but she's just like a normal person. And I mean, we have wine in the house. We had a bunch of people over yesterday to watch college football, and they were, drinking, and it just doesn't bother me anymore. And I would tell everybody's listening, like, hey, if you're early on, like, you don't need to take these risks that I can do today because I've had a lot of practice. But
Right, right, right.
in the beginning, you should probably be extra cautious and reduce risk. Yeah, I mean, we've traveled again all over, and we've been. I mean, we went to Italy this past year and went to Tuscany, and we toured wineries with a bunch of friends. And I'm like the sober guy, like on these wine tours.
Yeah, dude. I talk to a lot of clients, and they always tell me they're always like worried about like the dating aspect of sobriety, and like the more that I think about it, the more that I'm in it is like people. And like if you're dating and you're out there looking for somebody, like I don't, in my experience, like they don't really care like if you drink or not, and even if you're sober, like
Yeah, I think if they really care and it's a problem, then there's something they need to look at,
yeah,
honestly.
exactly. And some people are just worried about the wrong things.
Yeah,
Um,
I dated a lot in my 20s, and had a few relationships and went on dates, and like the women that were worried about it, like they like the sense like everything they would think, oh, I can't have a full life with this guy. He's boring, like we won't have any fun. And I'm like, if that's what they think, like that's on them. That's nothing a reflection of me as a person. Now it used to sting a lot more in the beginning for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Um, But again, those aren't the facts.
Yeah, living in the facts, living in the facts. I'm
Living
gonna
in the
use that,
facts.
man. Yeah, I'm gonna use
Steal
that.
it. Take it. I got lots of nuggets.
Yeah,
Take them all.
yeah, I'm gonna start using that, man.
Yeah.
So, what made you like incorporate, sneakers and therapy? Like, where'd that
So,
come from? How'd that start?
well, I've loved sneakers, even when I was in high school. But when I was, getting high and loaded, you don't have money for that kind of stuff usually. But I started really collecting sneakers probably about 10 years ago, and I've built up a really, really nice and rare collection. And I had this
I was gonna
idea of
say,
like,
bro, you got some kicks, man. I seen
well,
you post. I'm like, man, you got a lot of kicks.
and so and I'd been kind of like, and I mean I had friends that were collectors and resellers, and
Yeah,
so I would talk about it with them. But like, I had this idea of like, wouldn't it be cool to like share the sneaker collection and talk about mental health, and sobriety and kind of tie it all together because those are all big hot topics and big communities and a way to maybe reach people and do something that not I don't know anybody else that does it. That probably is. I'm not aware of it. And it just, like I said in my videos, like every shoe has a story behind how it was designed, how it was made, how it was released, the materials on it, if it's a collaboration, why did they collab together, and it has a cool meaning. And, I just figured, that those are cool to share, and then you can tie it into some kind of topic to better ourselves. And so I was thinking about it, but I was never really a big Instagram guy. I mean, I had Instagram for my businesses, but but not like personally. And
yeah.
you know how it is. It's a risk kind of putting yourself out here,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
putting your opinions and life out in the world.
Yeah.
But I was talking to my brother who also loves sneakers like me, and he was like, "Dude, you should totally do it." And I talked to a few people, and I held off for like a year, and then I finally started doing it, and it just like kind of felt like it came naturally, and it was just really fun. And a lot of people like reached out and messaged me like how helpful it was or how it touched them, and it just kind of took off, man. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just keep doing this. So we'll see where it
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah.
No plan.
I've noticed. I've talked to a lot of people that like have mental health brands and like just kind of pages like that, and they always like their stories. Everybody's story is different, but it's always the same. Like it always has the same like part to it that they necessarily didn't even mean to do it, or to start it. Because that's how same thing with me. Like I had no intention of speaking out and sharing my story and speaking on sobriety and mental health. Like I had no intention of doing that at all. Like I've always been on Instagram and social media, but other than that, bro, like nah, like I would never speak out. Um, what's the path you see it going down? Like, what do you want to keep just doing what you're doing, like, or you want to do something
I don't
bigger? What,
know.
what what you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a busy guy. I mean, I own my own practice and I have, five people
Yeah,
under me, and we've been in a huge growth phase the past couple years. And so, but I'm in the process of like slowing down there where I don't have to see as many clients and I'm more just kind of overseeing and doing a lot of the behind the scenes kind of admin stuff. So I'm trying to create more free time in my life to do some fun stuff like this. But I mean, of course, I get excited and I get big ideas like, oh, I could, do more stuff like this and have people on my channel, like not just, I mean, of course, sneakerheads and sneaker collectors, but also like some mental health professionals that I know across the country. And we could talk about mental health or we could talk about recovery and sobriety. And I don't, I'm in a place where I don't need to make money off this. Like I've honestly, like I've done well. Like I'm not driven by that at all. You know, some people ask me like, is that what you're doing this for? I'm like, not really. Like if honestly, if somebody was able to, I don't know, offer me some kind of sponsorship or whatever for money, like honestly, maybe I'd take it and I'd honestly just like give the money away or like something, or maybe I would pay someone to like help me with the videos and stuff like that kind of behind the
right.
scenes
Yeah,
stuff. But like I don't need it, I don't want it, that's not why I'm doing it at all.
that's good. I mean, even if like since you're not really chasing the money, like it's more authentic, it's more real. Like I know people get caught up in chasing, the money. They lose they lose the meaning of what of why they're actually doing something. You know, you
Yeah.
got to.
So go ahead.
No, oh no, no, go ahead. You good?
Yeah, I mean that's so my thought is I don't really have long-term plans. I'm just gonna see how it goes. I just I try to have balance in my life between my job and I have my wife and everything, and like you can put a lot of time into posting and content and
Yeah, it's a
you
job.
know
Yeah,
responding and all that. I created a Discord server for my community because so many people were reaching out. Like I just couldn't keep up with everybody, and everybody wanted to talk sneakers and mental health. So I also have that going, and there's like 150 members in there already. And so it
it's
just
good.
I have to go on there and I pop on there and respond to stuff, and it's been good. So, but it becomes a lot. So I don't know. I'm not going to build my life around it. I'm just going to let it fit in where it can
Yeah,
right now. But I would love to do longer videos and interviews like this and stuff like that. But for right now, the couple short videos a week, mental health post here and there. I think that's where I'm just gonna keep riding for right now.
I mean, I think you got a good thing going, man. I mean, I'm liking what you're doing. I liking what you post. You know, the sneakers is fire. You know, so I mean, is there you got a favorite pair? I'm not too educated on like
I
the type
do.
the type of sneakers and shoes and stuff, but I just like the
I've got.
colorways and something.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've got lots of favorite pairs. I mean, I have about 350 pairs right now in my collection, so there's a lot of favorites in there.
Yeah,
And I have some really really cool like rare stuff that most people you can't even like see even at these sneaker conventions and conferences that I've been to, sneaker cons and g God Souls and all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to share too much because I want to save them for the videos,
hey,
like
hey, do
and
your
kind of
thing, do your thing,
and
man.
surprise people. But I mean, people have seen
Yeah,
some of the stuff. But I love Jordans. I love dunks. My favorites have been the SBs though, the Dunk SBs, because
yeah. Yeah,
they have a lot more. They just have a lot of cool history and collabs, and they're just super collectible, and that's what I have the most of. That's what I have the rarest stuff of. So I'll keep busting a lot of those out. But I like Air Maxes. I like a lot of things. So all Nike
yeah.
though.
All Nike. I mean, that's pretty much
Yeah.
what all those.
Yeah.
Even the Jordan ones, the SBs, like it's all Nike.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I do want to get some SBs though. So I've seen some clean
Hmm.
SBs. You know,
Oh, there's so many. What size are
yeah.
you?
I'm like a size 10.
I mean, you got a good size. See, I'm size 12, man. It's harder out there for the big feet, They're rare and they're more expensive. Size 10, you can find a lot more stuff.
Yeah, where do these sneaker cons be at? Like they just pop up anywhere?
They're like every 2 weeks all over the world. Like they're the one they just had one in Toronto this weekend that's like today, and then they have one I believe next weekend in Minnesota. I'm going to one in San Francisco on October 18th. Just going in for like a day. I've never been to one outside of Dallas, so I'm just gonna go check them out. But they're the best ones if you want to go check them out.
Hell yeah, yeah. I'm definitely. I mean, once I get money for the rarity sneakers you're talking about, I'm gonna start getting some. I got a couple decent pairs right now. I got the my favorite one. I got some off white forces.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, I got some the Mocha Jordan ones. And I just got a couple like standard, other forces too.
yeah,
But the off whites are probably my favorite.
yeah. I have a ton of off-white. I have some crazy off-white stuff. They're amazing,
Yeah,
amazing.
I like the what are those? The North Carolina colorway.
UNC, yeah,
Yeah, those. Yeah, do
yeah.
they make those still, right? Or like those are just
Uh, no, I mean they're not making them anymore, but you can definitely find them
yeah,
new in your size or even lightly used. And I mean those anything that Virgil did like that he Off-White did. I mean their value will remain the same. I mean
yeah.
they're rare. They can be hard to find, but you can definitely find them. But yeah, those are awesome.
They only make them in high top or low top. I like the
You like
lows.
Lowe's?
Yeah,
So for the Off-White Jordan, like the Jordan ones, the
I mean
main
I know
high.
yeah,
those are all high tops, like the UNC high tops. But if you like low tops and you like off whites, I mean the Air Force Ones have a ton of,
Yeah, those are what's
you
I got.
know,
Yeah,
yeah, they have a ton of those. There's also like I have a video coming out this week where I'm wearing the off-white Prestos, which are super comfortable, and a really cool collab with Off-White. And those aren't like crazy expensive.
damn. Yeah, man. We might have to do another episode where you just start showing me kicks because I'm trying to see them, man.
I
Like I said,
got you, man.
I'm not educated on what these names and what they look like, but I just like I just like the colorways of some of the shoes, man. That's fire.
Yeah, it's super fun, man.
But yeah, man. But yeah, man. I mean, I got nothing else for you, man. But is there anything else you wanna plug or you wanna shout something out? Instagram, like anything you wanna
Yeah,
plug,
man.
bro?
I'm the most active on Instagram. I mean, I have TikTok and YouTube. But the handle for all of it's the same. It's just sneaker underscore head underscore therapist. The link to the Discord server if you want to join the community where we have a bunch of different group chats going. That's in my profiles on all those. But if you message me on Instagram, I can just send you a link real easily. But just like come hang out with us. We post like kicks of the day. We talk about new releases. We have like a mental health support channel where like we talk about things, and we have like a check-in where we talk about what we're grateful for, what we're struggling for. Like it's pretty cool. But if you really want to be interacting with me, I would say I'm the most active on Instagram for sure. But give me a follow, come comment, check out. I love hearing feedback. I do respond to everything. It just takes me a while sometimes. So,
Feel it.
but
Yeah.
would love for you guys to check it out. And if you're struggling with like anything, I can't be everybody's therapist, but I will at least point you in the right direction.
Oh yeah, bro. Nah, man. Hey, thank you for that. Thank you for coming on here, bro, and chatting with me, taking the time, bro, dropping some nuggets, something I'm definitely gonna use. I really appreciate you, bro. Of
Hey man, appreciate you, brother, man. Anytime you need anything or need me to come back, I'm happy to do it.
course, man. Thank y'all. Thank everybody too for watching and tapping in. This is the Sober and Unbothered podcast with John, the Sneakerhead Therapist, and T from Unhinged Sanity. I'm gonna see y'all next week, man. Thank you.